We have a new champion, a new IWGP United States champion tonight on AEW Dynamite on Fyter Fest Night 2. Plus, news coming in tonight that Samoa Joe has been confirmed for his in-ring return at NXT TakeOver. We're going to discuss it all tonight in the Debrief.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Debrief. I'm your host, Jose G. Next to me is the top Chico himself, Rico El Glorioso, and we're here tonight to talk about what went down on AEW Dynamite on Fyter Fest Night 2, a great conclusion to a United States IWGP title match, a Texas death match, Rico, and we have a brand new champion in Lance Archer, a two-time IWGP United States champion. What a night tonight for AEW, huh?
Oh, man. Again, this is the third specialty night that we've had in a row between Road Rager, Fyter Fest Night 1, but man, Fyter Fest Night 2 finished with a huge moment, and that's just on the road to next week's Fight for the Fallen, where we got a whole bunch of good matches that are lined up. Even more so with, like you said, a brand new champion already going to be defending that title in 1 week's time. Man, tonight was definitely much more eventful than what we've seen earlier this week, unfortunately.
Oh, absolutely. Guys, if you're just joining us for the very first time, I want to invite you to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have tons of exclusive content there, tons of exclusive interviews, tons of videos by Vince Russo. You can catch the news roundup, daily top stories every single day, and breaking news exclusively on our YouTube channel. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you never ever miss a post. Same thing if you're watching on Facebook, hit that share button, share that link. Make sure you're sharing your favorite group, your favorite wrestling group. Tag your friends in the comment section so we can talk about what went down tonight on AEW. All right, Rico, let's jump into Dynamite Fyter Fest Night 2 because it was a great show. Compared to NXT, I thought NXT kind of fell flat on its face, and what happened on Monday night with NXT didn't really help, but we'll get to that later on. Let's talk about what happened just literally 15 minutes ago. A brand new IWGP United States champion, Lance the MurderHawk Archer.
And it's very fitting too, because of course, if you guys didn't know, Fyter Fest has been in Texas. Both weeks have been in Texas. Lance Archer is from Texas, and it was very poetic on how this match ended. So from their original Texas death match that they had in New Japan, they brought back a lot of the same elements. So you can kind of tell, all right, we saw how they had the first match, how they're going to up the stakes. So we got to see the forks happening again. We got to see the paradigm shift on the exposed concrete on the outside. We got to see a lot of bits and pieces also taken away from the last match that they had, which Mox eventually won. He won hitting the paradigm shift through the setup that he created once again this evening with the two tables on the outside, with the boards, with the barbed wire on it. Last time he hit Lance Archer with the paradigm shift, or the Death Rider, because technically he was in New Japan when he hit it. But this time Lance turned it around. This time he was able to hit the chokeslam onto Moxley through that barbed wire to the point where Mox couldn't get out of it. So again, if you guys didn't know the rules of the Texas Death Match, there is no pinfall. There's only submission and a 10 count. That's the only way you can win. So unfortunately, Mox was not able to answer that 10 count once he was put through that table. And we have a brand new IWGP US Champion. And he already has a challenger because it was announced he was in attendance. Hikuleo, the son of King Haku himself. And I did not know his son was that big until he got into the ring. It was already announced he was going to be facing the winner of this match next week. And he got into the ring. Bro.
I did not know he was that tall, man.
From him sitting down, I'm like, oh, okay. He's probably Haku size. He's big, but you didn't think he's that tall until he stood eye to eye with the MurderHawk monster. So I'm really excited because I have not been able to see a lot of Hikuleo's stuff. But I'm really intrigued to see what he's going to be able to bring over here to Dynamite as he challenges Lance Archer for that his brand new US IWGP Championship. I'm excited.
A lot of the loyals that are tuning in tonight, sounding off in the comments, they are really happy with that main event. I completely agree with every single one of you. Christopher Ryan Cooper, CRC. Damn, that was crazy. Stephen Chambers saying, congrats to Archer winning the belt. Great match. Donna Marie Evans, that was an awesome match. Moxley versus Archer. Man, but let's talk about also what's been surrounding AEW all day long, especially
we got to bring it up.
If Molly Warnick brings it up. Man, news about Phil Brooks referring to CM Punk and DB, Daniel Bryan, going to AEW. There has been multiple reports that Phil Brooks' CM Punk has been in serious talks with AEW. I can't confirm that myself. I have not gotten the okay to say yay or nay on that. Same thing with Daniel Bryan. There's been multiple reports about Daniel Bryan signing with AEW. I was waiting to see if anything happened on the show tonight before I posted anything. I usually schedule this ahead of time, but I did not hear anything, so I can't say that Daniel Bryan has signed with AEW until my upper ups tell me yay. So, but there's been multiple reports about it, and I think the crowd may have been anticipating a little bit about that. But what's your quick reaction to both of these wild reports that's been going on for the last few hours?
I wouldn't be surprised. We've been hoping for something, at least something from the Daniel Bryan side, because there's whole speculation: is he going to resign with WWE? Is he going to try it with AEW Japan? Like, what's he going to do? So it's nice to know that he's finally getting ready to have his in-ring return, hopefully, for one of these companies. And I would be okay if it was with AEW, because we would get an amazing amount of possible dream matches, including one Kenny Omega versus Daniel Bryan. We can get Cody versus Daniel Bryan. Like, all these potential dream matches. We've seen Dean Ambrose, but we see this Jon Moxley. You're going to see Andrade, even though it's this Andrade. Like, I want to see Phoenix versus Daniel Bryan, Penta versus Daniel Bryan. Like, so many potential dream matches. So I hope it's true. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we even see him next week if he's getting ready, that eager to get into the ring. And when it comes to one, Phil Brooks, CM Punk, even though he's 0-1 now in MMA, because apparently the other one got stricken on record, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out at All Out, because, of course, it's always a speculation. Every single time they're in Chicago, that's the perfect time to bring out CM Punk. So if he's going to do it, it makes sense, because that's AEW's WrestleMania. WWE is never going to give him his main event spot in WrestleMania, so you can get it here in AEW. So I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. Expect him on the road to All Out.
That'll definitely be a monumental day if that does happen, and you can count on Sportskeeda Wrestling being there at All Out this coming fall in September. But let's jump into what else went down, because not only we had a great title match for the United States IWGP title, but we also had the women's AEW title, which by far, this match right here, this match was the best women's match that AEW has had to date. Coming number 2, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. This match right here was awesome. It had everything. It had a great storytelling back and forth. Okay, the good old David versus Goliath storytelling, right? Then at the end, you have a little swerve with an old little Eddie Guerrero type of move where Britt Baker throws the title to Nyla Rose, falls down like she's bent over, but then Vicky catches that, and Vicky is just as a Guerrero or even more, holds on to the ref's leg, so that Nyla throws it back to Britt. Britt holds it, the ref turns around, catches her, and she's like, I wasn't going to do anything.
No.
It was a beautiful move. I thought this was actually one of the best matches, not only for Britt Baker, but for Nyla Rose. She actually showed me a lot more, and Britt Baker really brought out really good stuff out of her. What did you think of this match, man?
This feels by far and away better than the last previous match when Nyla Rose was champion and Britt Baker was the challenger. And we all had a feeling that it was going to be Britt Baker's time soon. And it wasn't it yet. Back when Nyla had the championship, it wasn't her time. But now, especially with the crowd there, because, again, the biggest pops that you got in the entire night, Britt Baker, Hangman, Darby, and those are the three, and Moxley, of course, when the Wild Thing hit. Like, those are the hugest pops of the night, and Orange Cassidy. Like, so we knew. So this was great to see her get that one win back over on Nyla Rose. So really, evens that out. But yeah, just like you mentioned, like the double Guerrero spot, I thought was fantastic. It just continues to show how the division is getting better, and it needs to be anchored around Britt Baker, hands down, because this is the kind of match that you get. So it's her time. She's the face of the division where she rightfully should be.
Over, man. She's
incredibly over. She is gonna be the Charlotte Flair of AEW. She's gonna be that Hall of Famer, that just perennial main eventer that can just carry the division. You can give her the title at any point, and you will get an amazing match, an amazing storyline. That's Britt Baker's role. She is the women's division.
Absolutely. I completely agree, man. We also had a few matches here. We had the 5 Labors of Jericho, Chapter 1, Chris Jericho versus Shawn Spears. This actually opened up Fyter Fest Night 2. And the stipulation here was that Shawn Spears was the only one that can use a chair, and Chris Jericho was not allowed to use a chair. And he'd get disqualified. This was a pretty cool match that opened up the show. I thought it was cool. The way it ended, I thought was, kind of telling, sending Shawn Spears over into the turnbuckle, hitting with the chair, and then getting hit with the Judas. What is it called? The Judas Priest?
The Judas Effect. The
Judas Effect. He hits him with the Judas Effect, and gets to win. But it was afterwards that we got to see the announcement of what Chapter 2 lies in. So what's this Chapter 2 lie in for the Labors of Jericho next week?
So the last person I was going to expect to show up on AEW, especially on Dynamite, Nick Gage, MDK all day. Nick Gage is going to have a no DQ match against Chris Jericho as the second labor in order for him to get his match against MJF. But we got to see later on when Alex Marvez went to interview him, there's only one version of Chris Jericho that has the potential to be able to deal with the hardcore master that is Nick Gage, and that's the Painmaker. So he turned around, he had the Painmaker makeup on. So we're going to be seeing that version of Chris Jericho take on Nick Gage next week at Fight for the Fallen. So, man, this has been crazy 3 weeks, and it's going to be finishing off even more insane.
Dude, it's just gonna keep getting crazier and crazier as the weeks go by. Just because now we're gonna have a different version of Chris Jericho. We're gonna have the New Japan version of Chris Jericho in AEW, which is always great. So I thought that was pretty cool that we got to see the Painmaker in AEW. Frankie Kazarian had a matchup against Doc Gallows, the Elite Hunter. Ended up being hunted because Doc Gallows ended up getting the win on him. But what was happened afterwards, Omega comes out to continue punishing because he was already being ambushed. Adam Page comes out later on. Huge response, by the way. Adam Page gets every time he comes out, especially in Texas. Yeah, Cowboy Town. Yeah, man. But then he starts, he comes out to interrupt, gets ambushed, and then the Dark Order comes out, for the assist. So kind of the same stuff that happened last week, but just as we get closer and closer to All Out, things are just going to continue building up here.
Which, by the way, and if you guys had, Slammiversary was actually a pretty good event. I was able to tune in, just like Steve Chambers mentioned here, with the great match that we had with Britt Baker and Nyla Rose. Don't be surprised if we do see a Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa once again, especially at All Out for that AEW Women's Championship, because Thunder Rosa was Deonna Purrazzo's mystery opponent at Slammiversary. They put on one hell of a match too. Deonna was able to retain, but man, it was a great event. And even the Good Brothers regaining the Impact World Tag Team Championships. That's why they came out with the belts to the ring. So don't be surprised that they're going to continue to add into the storyline with the Elite, with Hangman Dark Order, with Frankie Kazarian as being the Elite Hunter. So they just continue to add more stakes to this feud going on. And then one feud that continues going on now is the Blade versus Orange Cassidy. So for the last couple of weeks, the Blade has been attacking Orange Cassidy, hitting him with brass knuckles. But this time they had an actual one-on-one match with Orange Cassidy finally getting the win. understanding what was going to happen, he avoided the brass knuckles. He was able to hit his orange punch to get the win. And then afterwards, in just a little bit of retribution, he dons the brass knuckles himself. He once again hits the blade with the orange punch. So I know that's going to be hurting. It's going to be not feeling too good in the morning. Let's just say.
Just a little. Yeah. It's going to hurt just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. Let's answer this question here real quick. We did talk about Moxley at the opening of the show, but Lori Sackett Cossey is asking, what does Moxley do now? I think he's going to take some time off, maybe, to be with his daughter,
baby Nora.
But after that time is over, what does he do?
Oh, he's got to
go back to Kenny. Go back to Kenny after All Out.
Maybe after all, well, I mean, it'll be Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page. So that could be the potential feud. But yeah, that's a good question. I mean, especially if they happen to bring somebody like a Daniel Bryan, if they have a Phillip Brooks. So, who knows? You know that Jon Moxley is a big name, so he's going to be ready for a big named opponent, just like he had, again, with the Elite, he had with Jericho, he had with Omega, and now with Lance Archer. So don't be surprised if there's if one of these big names that happens to jump over or get signed by AEW, if they have a little bit of a Moxley in the wings.
Very interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd like to hear what you guys think might happen to Moxley. We'll read your comments out loud and on the air as we go about today's show. But we also had a great segment with Andrade El Ídolo, where Andrade announces his new executive council, Chavo Guerrero. Chavo back in the game, making his debut in AEW. Very well received. I think this is a brilliant move for Andrade to have Chavo Guerrero as his mouthpiece, even though we see that Andrade is really trying to put that English in, he's trying to put it out there, and he's getting better. But having Chavo as a mouthpiece, I think this is a great move for Andrade. And he was calling out Triángulo de la Muerte, Death Triangle, so he can make them a proposition because he notices that Penta and Rey Fénix don't have any championship gold, and he wants to change that. So he wants them to join him. But looks like they're not down for that because Pac and Penta and Rey, apparently they're family. It's a brotherhood, but we know how brotherhoods end. We know how brotherhoods end. We know how this is going to end. Penta and Rey are going to turn so hard on Pac, and they are going to unite with Andrade. It's the only logical move.
Los Ingobernables de AEW. It's around the corner. I feel like they're gonna slow play this for a while. We're probably gonna have like a nice series of matches. We're gonna have Andrade versus Fénix, which is gonna be an amazing match. Like Steven Chambers says, we're gonna have Andrade versus Penta. We're gonna have Andrade versus Pac. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, just like you said, Jose, they're gonna turn so hard on Pac, and they're gonna align themselves with Andrade, with Chavo Guerrero, like you said, perfect mouthpiece. You don't have to overextend Vicky Guerrero. Let Vicky stay with Nyla. That's fine. And now you have Alex Abrahantes, with Penta, and, which kind of works with Chavo, with Andrade, like we saw, with them basically, translating for everybody. I think this is going to be great. I think this is going to be a nice little long-term storyline we're going to get, and I can't wait for that turn to happen and we get that faction. We get Andrade once again leading a faction.
Yeah. Here's my thing. With these type of things, you have to do it slow. I don't think you can rush all the way into it. But if you do it too slow, then you're going to lose everybody. So it's almost you got to time it right. And you don't have to do it specifically at a pay-per-view, but you can do it at a high-stakes AEW TV show. Let's say if there's a world title involved or something that's really catching the attention for that show, maybe do it on that show. But this is something that I hope that they take their time with, because it has a really good story that I can sink my teeth in, and this is the story to do it with. Because right now, to be honest, and people may hate me for it, I'm not so into the Adam Page Kenny Omega story. I'm really not. Because I'm not hot on Dark Order. I just think this whole Dark Order and Adam Page solidarity that they got going on, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just like something you see out of a cartoon and Adult Swim in the middle of the night.
It's a feel-good story. That's really what it is. With having the babyface Dark Order, especially on BTE, aligning himself with the babyface that is Hangman Adam Page. So, and that's understandable because, again, yeah, it's, one of these things, isn't like the others. One of these things doesn't belong here, and that's one Hangman Adam Page with the Dark Order. But until the storyline gets told, until he becomes AEW champion, this is going to be what he needs in order to get, at least on a level playing field with the Elite. Because if he tries to go at it by himself, it's not going to work. We've seen what Don Callis is going to do with the Young Bucks, with the Good Brothers, with Kenny Omega. So he needs some firepower in his corner. And even though they're the sentimental underdogs, you got the Dark Order, so at least you have some numbers in your favor. So we'll see if they can actually work together as a team, because next week at Fight for the Fallen, we are going to get that 10-man elimination tag team match where, again, if Hangman and the Dark Order win, they get the respective championship matches. So we're going to continue to see this, unfortunately, Jose. So you're going to have to put up with a little bit more. But at least we got to see the beginning of this amazing storyline with Andrade and Death Triangle.
I completely agree. I think this is going to be the best story in AEW. This is just my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with me. But I just think this is going to be something special. This is all I'm going to say. It's going to be something special. Guys, if you're just joining us right now, make sure you're hitting that like button. Engage with the show. I see there's 57 of you right now. Let's see if we can get it up to 75, 80, maybe 100. Let's tag your friends in the comment section right now. Share tonight's show in your favorite wrestling group. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button, that notification bell, so that way you always know when we're dropping brand new content. Tons of content right now. We had an incredible weekend with Money in the Bank. Great post show. We also had a great trivia and watch along. So check those out exclusively on our YouTube right now. Also, make sure you watch all of our news roundups and top stories available every single day here on Sportskeeda Wrestling. All right, Rico, let's jump over to NXT. Because, man, NXT fell flat on its face this week. And Monday night did not help, because how are you going to have your undefeated champion show up to Monday Night Raw scarletless to job out in less than 2 minutes to Jeff Hardy? Not really job out, because he got a bunch of suplexes in, but Jeff Hardy got a sneaky win using the ropes. This is not a good look at all. So I get if you want to take away the mystique of the whole undefeated thing, because like with Asuka and Charlotte and all this stuff, I get if you want to get rid of that mystique. You just had Jeff Hardy lose to Jinder Mahal on his return on Main Event, and then you bring out the NXT champion, the top guy that nobody has been able to defeat in NXT. Not your Adam Coles, not even your Keith Lees, which that's another thing I'm upset about. That's for tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But you have Karrion Kross and all the mystique about him with that entrance, even though you don't have Scarlett, which I think that's probably what hindered him. And then Jeff Hardy gets a sneaky win with cheating, and he's supposed to be the babyface. I get it. You want to start this feud with Karrion Kross and really start to integrate him into the Raw roster. That's fine, but not like that though. Well, see, here's the thing too. I'm looking at this and I'm watching it, and I enjoy the Karrion Kross character. I know for what he is. So, but for what they did on Monday night, what essentially you did to that character is you just completely eliminated all the mystique that he had as that character. The entire purpose of him having that badass entrance, to having that badass persona, the undefeated streak, it was to fit the entire character. And with that sneaky win, that whole mystique is gone. So this whole storyline for me on NXT, this means that Samoa Joe is going to be NXT champion.
He has to be. He has to take that title from Karrion Kross. That's
This
the only
means,
positive I
yes,
take out of all this whole situation.
This means that Samoa Joe will be champion at TakeOver. There has to be no doubt, because that means they're going to snatch Karrion Kross and move him over to Monday Night Raw so he can go and sit in catering.
Yeah, God. Or lose the Jeff Hardy again.
Because what's the point if you're going to bring this superstar over to Raw to make him be a bigger than life, right, type of character, and you do that as he's champion of your other brand? Come on, man. It's a disrespect, dude. I saw a meme today. I saw a funny meme today regarding this, right? Mm-hmm. So on the top part of the meme, it's Ring of Honor, New Japan, AEW, Impact, and they're all getting along.
They're playing soccer together.
Yeah. And then on the other one, it's this one kid punching this other kid, and it's WWE punching NXT. Is like what WWE does to its brand on its same company. God.
It's like Nisha Dali is saying here. It's a crisscross. Jose. We're getting crossed up right now. We don't know what's going on with.
Safed on YouTube. Safed on YouTube. Chekovic. He's saying I didn't even bother to watch NXT, and I sympathize. I understand. I didn't want to watch it because I was like, oh, like then why? What's the point? You know, it's like, what's the point?
But hopefully, the positive thread that we have coming out of it is that's the saving grace. In-ring return of Samoa Joe. And that was the through line the entire show. We had Samoa Joe in his night shirt waiting for Karrion Kross to arrive. And he never did, even to the point where, except for when Karrion Kross was on the Tron and he showed off that he had taken out William Regal. And he called out Samoa Joe. So, like, this match has to happen. And because of what's happening with essentially Kross going to Monday Night Raw, I want to see, I think it'll be a 2-time NXT champion Samoa Joe. Like, he deserves it. Give him the belt. Have him go, because he already set up all the feuds. We talked about it. We set up feuds with Adam Cole, with Pete Dunne. Like, he's already set up all these potential challengers. It writes itself. So it seems like one of those things where even Triple H is like, all right, Vince. I find it kind of funny that, you want to bury Karrion Kross on his first match on Raw, but I will at least have a storyline to come out of it. And that's going to be Samoa Joe, hopefully, carrying that title from TakeOver for SummerSlam to possibly, Survivor Series or even the Royal Rumble.
Let's cross our fingers. There was a report today that Samoa Joe has been confirmed for in-ring return at NXT TakeOver. So this is all just lining up perfectly. James Espanto Fernando Taguay checking us out today. One of the Sportskeeda loyals, Rican loyal as well, saying Kross losing his first night on the main roster makes him look like a chump, and it makes everyone who built him up, parentheses, Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Gargano, etc., to be a monster heel look like chumps as well. Felt like Vince McMahon sending a message.
Especially, Keith Lee, but yeah. All right, but we did get to see some guys on the come up. We got to see Kushida and Bobby Fish getting one over on the Diamond Mine, kicking off NXT. So this brand new faction that we have here, and they're already taking the L with Roderick Strong and Tyler Russ. So how do you feel about the Diamond Mine going forward? So we see Karrion Kross losing his debut, but now the first time that Diamond Mine has tag team action, they're taking a loss. Where do you see the Diamond Mine going from here, Jose?
You know what? I don't know, man. I was just so kind of like in and out and tuning, just because that whole situation with Karrion Kross really bummed me out.
It's like a sour taste in your mouth already watching the show. Like, I'm so mad already. Why am I mad? That happened last night.
I literally could not focus on anything because I really wanted to see what was going to happen with Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross. Turns out we didn't get to even see Karrion Kross. It was just at the ending when he took out General Manager William Regal, and Samoa Joe was like, I'm going to get you, Kross. So it was like the ending of an action film going into a sequel. Yeah, it was like one of those. So, like, Okay, so here are my notable moments for NXT. Okay,
Go ahead.
Kyle O'Reilly and Austin Theory, good match. Okay,
Yeah.
backstage segment with the way where Indy Hartwell tells Austin, he's like, if you just want to kiss Dexter, you
Really,
should
just do it.
Yeah,
Like,
so like that was great.
what is
Anything that the way does backstage, but it looks like the way might be separating. I don't know, something's going on there. But yeah, so I like that.
Awesome.
And then Raquel Gonzalez versus Aielli, that was a very good main event. Very huge scare there was Aielli towards the ending and the finish of that match, where she was going for that cross senton, landed with her ribs wide open. Like she wasn't like fully turned.
She wasn't ready.
Wasn't expecting. A huge scare. I think she got the wind really knocked out of her. But according to Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful, she's okay. Seemed to be okay when she was backstage. But that was a good match. But again, what does this do? Again, for the mystique of Xia Li. If that wouldn't have happened,
the whole time we were talking about like building up to this, we saw this match happen a lot sooner than we expected. So both of us assumed, oh, okay, there's going to be some shenanigans. Like Mercedes Martinez is going to get involved. So, maybe Casey and Caden, if they're not done with Mei Ling, like they want to get involved. But no, it was a clean win for Raquel Gonzalez. And, scare aside, like, what was that whole build up for? Were you just building up Xia Li to feed her to Raquel? Or do you really have something legitimate for Xia Li? Because I don't know if I think she may have been one of the people that was doing one of the dark matches on SmackDown and Raw. So, like, hopefully maybe they're grooming her for a potential move over to either Raw or SmackDown. But all of that work to build that badass character and that mystique, like you said, and all the interest that she does and all of that to look so indestructible, and then you just have her lose clean to Raquel. So I'm not sure. I'm hoping this is going to be more about her getting pulled over to Raw or SmackDown, because other than that, why did you do that for the last few months?
I don't know, man. Again, you spent all this time building up backstory, costume, theatrics. Like that costs money, and it's a lot. It's time consuming. So I just wonder what they're going to do, because it was a clean loss, okay? But I wonder if that injury would have not happened in ring, if whatever the planned finish was, maybe would have prolonged that character. But I don't know, because now the mystique is gone again with Xia Li. Unfortunate. Reading some of your comments here, Christian Alex Phoenix Hill saying EO is most likely going to take that title back, or probably Mercedes.
I mean, we've been hoping Mercedes gets some sort of title run, but it just feels like she's going to be one of those like lifers. Like, she's going to be like Cassius Ohno. She's the Cassius Ohno of the women's division, where she's just there to help put over this talent and help him.
Cassius Ohno is a hell of a talent. Steven Chambers says, don't see no one beating Raquel right now.
Not at this moment. If anybody, probably Frankie, whenever they're ready to put the title on her. I can see Frankie Monet somehow getting a win over Raquel.
Richard Rinaldi saying Mandy coming to NXT. Lori Sackett is saying that Mandy will help NXT. Let's talk a little bit about that, because we did get to see Mandy Rose back in NXT for the second week in a row, and she was out during the Frankie Monet match against JC Lane, where Frankie Monet got the clean win over her. Robert Stone in the background trying to catch a little bit of attention to Frankie Monet. But what do you think this whole Mandy Rose situation is? Is she looking to be a manager? Is she looking out for competition? Like, what's the situation? What do you think? What's going on here with Mandy Rose?
I don't know. Like, one of the few times that I honestly can't begin to speculate, because it looks like she's looking to start her own. Like, she's going to manage somebody. Like she was eyeing Saray last week, so it seems like she's looking for somebody with potential for something. Maybe it's a possible tag team partner. Like, who knows? They really haven't given us too much motivation for Mandy Rose, other than, all right, she was never winning anything with Dana Brooke on Raw, so she's over here back with NXT, and about apparently Aaliyah is now on Raw, and they moved Naomi to SmackDown. So, like, all these things are happening in the wings, and they really didn't specify what she's aiming for. So hopefully we'll get obviously more answers as the time goes on. But I would think she's maybe looking for a potential partner to go after the NXT tag team titles or even the women's tag team titles on Raw.
maybe a title. So that's why she had to come over to NXT. CRC is saying over here, Christopher Ryan Cooper saying, why doesn't NXT travel for their shows? I feel they need a new crowd because the fans aren't into the matches like they used to be. Maybe it's just me.
Orlando NXT crowds were different, man.
Like, it's when we're at that Full Sail crowd is different. It's a really hot crowd. I don't know. They do the travel stuff. They do a local tour here in Florida. They go out to St. Pete, Largo, down south, up north. So they pretty much stay in Florida. They haven't toured in a long time. I'll tell you that. Ever since before COVID, they haven't had, because sometimes they would do like these small little tours to different cities for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they would come back. But I haven't seen that happen in a while. So maybe he's right, but those weren't televised. Actually, some of them were when we used to do it for the NXT takeovers. They would do some tapings at those venues. Remember that? Before they were live? So those were good. Those were good at some point, but I don't know. That would be great. Maybe they do need to change the crowd. Who knows? And there are some diehard NXT people out there.
Yeah, it's just a little hard to really support NXT after what happened Monday, and then seeing the great show that we saw tonight.
Yeah, that's just gonna leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Everybody can agree on that.
He's gonna have. He has to retire Jeff Hardy now. Like the only way this could be any good is he decimates Jeff and he retires.
Sends him out of here.
And then Jeff can show up on AEW and then all that happy fun stuff.
There we go. Yeah.
Here in WWE, he has to literally almost kill Jeff Hardy to at least get some sort of modicum of respect back and some of that mystique back. Because other than that, why? Why, Vince?
Yeah,
why?
Exactly. One of the surprises of the night for me was one Odyssey Jones. Man, I love this boy. Dude.
Yeah.
Odyssey Jones is a delight. He is a national treasure. This guy is destined for greatness. I'm telling you, great matchup against Andre Chase in the round on another first round in the NXT breakout tournament. But Odyssey Jones, that was my first time seeing Odyssey Jones. Man, I love this dude. Yeah, the guy's he's just fun to watch.
He's going to be in the finals. Whether he wins or not, it doesn't matter. He's going to be in the finals just because, you can tell that WWE is heavy on him. They've been supporting him. They've been putting him on some dark matches. So it looks like at this point, it's his tournament to lose. If I had to make any early predictions, but I have a feeling he's going to at least make it to the finals just because he's that fun to watch.
He may be up against Brendan Verk. What was his Duke Hudson? That's his name now.
Yeah.
It might be him. It may be him and him. Yeah, Duke Hudson and Odyssey Jones in the semifinal because I think they're in the same bracket.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, man. So NXT again kind of fell a little bit flat on his face because of what happened on Monday. It was just yeah. So. I gotta give this one a 6 this week, bro, because it wasn't good after what happened. If Monday would have not happened, I would have been okay, maybe a 7. But man, Monday just really messed it up.
I'm gonna give it a 5.5, bro. It's just
wow.
And especially with that spot with Xylee, that may have altered how the match went. It just yeah. I was just still stuck on the Karrion Kross thing and the Keith Lee thing. So the whole time I was already in the negative. It was at a -2 before the show even started. It got some points back, with Bobby Fish and Kushida and Diamond Mine, with Frankie Monet, with Kyle O'Reilly and Austin Theory again putting on a pretty good match. Austin Theory is a lot more talented, once they give him somebody really good to work with. And that storyline with him, the sad Austin Theory walking away from the rest of the way because of all the shenanigans. So those got points back, but it was already starting from a negative place. Even though we try to be unbiased, you can't go over what happened to your champion, your NXT champion, and what you did with him on Monday night. So to me, it just killed it. But it set up AEW to be even better.
CRC in the comments on Facebook saying, I'm going to support NXT all the way, but it's hard to trust Mr. McMahon. And if they want to call up a wrestler, if I'm that person with that happen, with what happened to Keith Lee and now Cross, I'm out going up. Now, listen, let me be clear. This is, I fully support NXT. Okay. I am always rooting for these guys. When there's someone that needs to be pushed, I'm one of the first people I'm always putting NXT over. Okay. What happened this week is not NXT's fault. I don't think this is NXT's fault at all. NXT just happens to be the innocent bystander here. Okay.
The collateral damage here.
The collateral damage, yes, because you have your main champion that represents this brand, and because your champion ate a sneaky pin from a Hall of Famer who hasn't been really well used in recent months, okay? When you have that guy beat Karrion Kross, who's supposed to be ominous, undefeated, the biggest next big thing in WWE, it just ruined everything. And this is not a knock because everybody did a great job in their matches. It just left a really bad taste in my mouth, and I'm hoping next week they can really rectify it.
Like Kevin Owens versus John Cena. That's what they did with their NXT champion at that time. That is how you introduce a champion.
And you beat your top guy.
When you hold up the NXT title and you put that foot on the US Championship, that's a statement.
That's how you do it.
Granted, Sheamus still has this feud going with Humberto, but imagine if Karrion Kross did something similar. Imagine he smashed Sheamus's face in with his forearm. Something to really get he's dangerous. He's a little unhinged. He's crazy, especially with that entrance with the fallen prey. Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch what else he can do. Oh, he's on NXT. He's their champion. Let me check it out. 100 seconds, a minute 40 seconds, and he gets rolled up and with the feet on the ropes loses.
Terrible.
You can do better ways of debuting. I get it. I think this ultimately going to be, him retiring Jeff Hardy, but still, you can get your point across in a much better way without having that kind of damage.
Here's the thing: you still could have done that angle, right? By putting over Cross on Monday. Jeff Hardy wants retribution, so you can have Jeff Hardy come down to NXT, confront Karrion Kross, and challenge him at SummerSlam. But no. Okay. What do we know? What do we know?
Some guys. Right. But Craig Backlund did bring it up. Hit Row facing off against Legado Fantasma. We've been talking about it ever since they were a faction we knew was coming. We're finally starting to see more of the Hit Row versus Legado Fantasma, which is going to be a nice series of matches. So at least so that's a little extra to go to the NXT bucket. But Jose, night 2 of Fyter Fest with the Texas Death Match with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD defeating Nyla Rose. Even though we did have Darby Allin and defeat Wheeler.
You notice I even talk about that match.
I know. The only good spot about that match was the outside part with Orange Cassidy and Sting, and he did that
part was good. That part was
Sting played along with it, which I thought was that was the only good part of that match. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that was good. That part was good.
But with the 5 Labors of Jericho, especially the announcement of Nick Gage going to be going up against Chris Jericho, the Painmaker coming back. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it an 8 for AEW. They continue to be on a solid 3-week streak right now with these solid shows. I'm excited for next week, and
we'll see what the viewership comes out tomorrow when we cover it on Weekends of Wrestling on our show that you can catch also live on YouTube and on Facebook. Make sure you follow us, Weekends of Wrestling. But we'll see because AEW really has been doing a really good job since they've been back at touring, and tonight, definitely an 8. Chavo made it. I love Chavo, seeing Chavo back. I love the Andrade angle now. And the matchup with Jon Moxley and Lance Archer. That was awesome. And Britt Baker and Nyla Rose. Like, those were solid matches that really kept me engaged with the show. So, yeah, 8 I think is fair. 8 is fair.
Man, all the matches that we have coming up next week. So, rounding out these 4 series of specialty shows for AEW Dynamite, man, it's keep doing what you're doing, AEW. Keep it going, Tony Khan. You got something going on right now.
You guys doing good. Guys doing good.
What
Guys,
do you think the announcement's going to be, real quick, though? I'd ask you real quick. What do you think that announcement is? Do you think could it be one American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, making his AEW debut?
It could be one Chig Magnet Punk. I don't know. I do not know what that announcement can be. I don't want to speculate. But guys,
you have to watch.
Let us know what your speculation is. Chime in the comments. Sound off in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing to Sportskeeda Wrestling for the latest breaking news, top stories that we got in the world of professional wrestling. Also, tons of exclusive content on our YouTube channel, exclusive interviews with all the top WWE stars, NXT stars. We're going to be getting a very high-profile name later this week. I don't want to spoil it. Tune in this week because we're going to be dropping some big interviews this week on our YouTube channel. So, Rico, that's it for tonight, guys. We really appreciate you joining us. For Rico Glorioso, I'm Jose G. And remember, when watching wrestling here on Sportskeeda Wrestling, what's the most important thing they can do, Rico?
Enjoy wrestling.
We out. Have